welcome. My name is Alex DeRoussel. I'm joined here by James Hendricks, senior at Mason. And so we're going to bring to you something a little different today. James, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Excited to get this going here. So we're going to be covering the play Puffs, which has been in production last weekend and this weekend here at Mason High School. And so, James, can you talk to me a little bit about what the show is and, what can we expect for theater goers?
Yeah, of course. So Puffs is supposed to be a retelling of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, since the show doesn't come with any copyright, there's some comedy regarding that, since we're not allowed to say the words Harry and Potter in the same sentence in anything regarding that Wizarding World. But it follows a trio that's supposed to parody the main trio, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and their 7 years throughout Hogwarts. So then they run into a bunch of mediocre-ish adventures because the main adventures happen with the trio, and just kind of living in that world from a different perspective, from the perspective of the Hufflepuffs, which is one of the
houses,
yeah. But one of the least reputable houses.
Mm-hmm. So it's more kind of like focusing on like making a story out of like the side characters kind of deal.
Yeah, it's definitely making a story out of the side characters and those that aren't presented in the story.
Yeah. So can you talk to me a little bit about how opening weekend went?
Yeah. So opening weekend, I thought went rather well. Our first show, we were almost sold out. We had maybe 17 seats not sold yet. Mm-hmm. So for us, that was really successful, and we were really happy to see that, especially after a year or so of no theater, actually about 2 years or so, of no live audiences. So we were really happy to see that. From what we could tell, the audience really liked it and enjoyed it. Then on Saturday, our next show, we had a matinee and then the other show, which in the matinee there were critics from an organization called Cappies, which is kind of like a Cincinnati-ish area organization that is run by other high schoolers, and they come to shows, critique them, and then at the end of the year there's awards, etc. Stuff that looks good for college, but ultimately it's just kind of a thing to get other schools know each other and other theater programs know each other.
Yeah.
That went rather well, and then the last show also, I believe, went rather well. It was all rather hectic backstage, but most shows usually are.
Yeah. So any kind of fun backstories you guys have, like it's a prop being misplaced or something like that?
There were throughout the show, there's quite a few props that we bring out, whether it be wands or brooms or slugs or books or whatever to fit the need of the show. There were quite a few times when we realized, oh no, we don't have props. I know personally for me, I was supposed to come out with birds, and I completely forgot birds. So so one of the bits was that someone would cast magic and a bird would summon, and I was supposed to bring out the bird. But there were just no birds, so I just kind of mimic with my hands a bird. So just kind of weird stuff like that. And honestly, the best thing to do in that case is just kind of improv it out.
Yeah. So who are some of some of the names that we're gonna expect to see in the cast?
So in the cast, in the main trio, there's myself, Ben Ginsberg, who's a current junior, and Delaney Cowles, who is a current freshman. Other people involved are seniors involved are Amara Hedges, Alicia Efron-Harp, Kaylee Rodway. Other juniors, Sean McCrae, Abigail Burns. Other sophomores, there's Mitch Goggin, who is the assistant director. I don't know too many sophomores. I can't think of them off the top of my head.
No worries.
But some of the freshmen also include, as I already said, Delaney. Then there's Eleanor Saylor and Dakota Lamb, and a bunch of other people that I'm sure I missed. But that's just who came to my head.
Yeah. And so what is it like, being a senior, working with, and like you said, in the main trio, there's a junior and also a freshman. Is that, unusual? Is that usual? And what's the dynamic between you three?
Honestly, for the club itself and our past productions, it's pretty usual to have some sort of age gap. And personally, I just kind of feel weird about it because I'm being hit with the realization that this is my last year here, this is
Yeah.
my last show, etc. You know, all the normal senior stress along with college.
Yeah, that stress is real.
That it is. But there's also, like, it's kind of nice because I get to see these other younger people
Mhm.
grow, and I get to see how the club is going to be in good hands in the following years. And the trio's interactions, honestly, we don't really see each other as, like, ages unless we're just poking fun at each other and like, oh, you're so young or you're so old.
Yeah.
Mainly me and the freshmen.
Yep.
But honestly, we get along rather well together, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if we stayed friends long past the production.
So like you said, kind of looking for, as a senior, you're the president of the theater club or drama club. How do you see this production being different from when you were a freshman?
That's a really good question. When I was a freshman, our first ever show, and my first ever show in high school, was something that was widely improvised. And there was like maybe 8 pages of script.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really bizarre, but it was really cool to be a part of, and it was really cool to see. And I think that if we did the production my freshman year, it would have been wildly different. But I still think that each year's, like any year you do that, in any school you do that, it's going to be different. But I certainly think ours is a really unique twist that I think some people really like. Like, I know I myself am very fond of this, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a lead.
No.
But I'm actually really proud of this show and proud of all the work that we put into.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome to hear. And tickets, are they online or?
They're online at showticksforyou.com, and then you can also buy them in the large commons.
Large commons during the lunches and
Yeah.
stuff like that. All right. So just for anyone that happens to listen to this and just like, maybe this weekend I'll go check out the show again because it was so great the first weekend. So in the large common and showticks.
Showticksforyou.com.
foryou.com.
And then there's also ticket sales at the door if people want to decide last minute.
Yeah. That'd probably be me. I'm a very spontaneous, last-minute kind of plan maker. So going forward, as for you kind of personally, give us a little look into your, what you're kind of thinking about. I know it's not, set in stone, and you probably get this question a lot, but are you, hoping to do something in theater, or is there something else that's kind of like pulling you?
I'm actually really hoping to do something in theater regarding college and hopefully professionally, even though it's not the most profitable of majors.
Do what you love and you never have to work a day in your life. So.
True. I'm hoping to go into stage management or some type of theater production because I really enjoy working backstage, and that's more of where my areas of expertise are.
Yeah.
And that's also a very malleable field, as it can fit not only into like plays but also musicals or even TV shows or movies, and like anything like that I can start just kind of working into as long as it's in the entertainment industry. And that's just kind of my plans for going forward.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best luck. And, so 3 shows this weekend or just 2?
Just 2.
Just 2. So Friday night and
Friday night and Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Both at 7.
Both at 7. So for anyone listening, be sure your tickets, you can buy them at the door, showticksforyou.com, and at the large commons at lunch. And be sure to tune in. We'll have some more episodes coming your way with various members and various stories going around the school. And I want to thank James again for being our first member or first interviewee on the show. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.